This is a special broadcast on Times Now. It's called Editors Unplugged. New show, new style, new setup, but familiar people and hopefully meaningful conversations. Managing editor Zakka Jacob, Shreya Dhoundial, Madhavdas Krishnan, and we aim to discuss Bengal and Tamil Nadu in our first episode. So let's start with Bengal. There's so much. Everybody is talking about Bengal. They want to know what is happening.
Well, look, it's the biggest election of this election season, no doubt about it. It's the prized catch for the BJP. I think also ideologically, I mean, Shyama Prasad Mukherjee is from there, Swami Vivekananda is from there. It's like one of those last bastions that the BJP needs to conquer, in addition to, of course, the South, which is Tamil Nadu and Kerala. But I suspect the BJP's chances in Bengal is slightly better than its chances in both Tamil Nadu and Kerala. This is their best shot, frankly. I mean, if the BJP does not win this time, I don't know. I think, you know, their chances of winning again anytime in the future.
And you say that because of disillusionment in the cadre, something else?
Look, I think, you know, somebody else will take that space. And that's, politics never works in a vacuum, right? I mean, the people of the state, supporters of any political dispensation, if we've given them one chance, two chances, three chances, a fourth chance, and if it's still not happening, then they look for alternatives, right? So I think this is the best chance that the BJP has. And if they don't win this time, looks like this is the best shot that they have, then I suspect it'll become very difficult for them to, you know, revive.
This is what a lot of people in Bengal are also saying. I was there for a few days. And what even the BJP cadre have essentially said is that, you know, there is also this politics of intimidation that Bengal has been known to have. We've seen what happened in the post-poll violence in the last election. So there's a sort of punishment disincentive being given through the acts of violence, intimidation, etc. So it's not also easy being a cadre of the BJP sitting in Bengal. So therefore, that makes it that much more difficult for them to sort of grow their cadre. For instance, if they came second in the last election, one would have imagined they've built up their cadre to the effect that they have at least agents in every booth level. And we all know what the numbers were when it came to the SIR. The left actually has more agents than the BJP in a state like West Bengal, despite it being, you know, this one huge political party at the center. At the level of the ground, it's very difficult for them to build up their cadre. Even if you look at the quality of the candidates, many would say that perhaps they could have done better. But, you know, if this culture, it's a state which has this culture of violence. There are some studies which show that in the last 10 years, I think if it's not wrong, about 57% of all incidents of political violence have happened in Bengal. So there is this culture that's there, which even predates the TMC, to be fair. It's there during the left.
Psychologically, I think those 4 days after the last results, right, in 2021, after Mamata won and before she got sworn in as chief minister again, obviously, there was a lot of political violence at that time. And I got the sense at that time, a lot of BJP-leaning or BJP, you know, enrolled folks there were feeling like they were let down or nobody was there to, you know, protect them. And I think that feeling sort of lingered on
Which is why perhaps, Zakka, the government is going out on a limb and the election commission is going out on a limb this time to say, bhai, even once the election results are out, 70,000 central paramilitary forces will be on the ground, so don't worry. But I wonder where Mamata Banerjee got it so wrong. Look, if you look at things from 1977, one thing that Bengal has shown us is that Bengalis are averse to change. I hate change, and by the looks of it, Bengalis hate change too. Because there's...
You're not Bengali.
Well, I served in Calcutta for 2 years. The best professional time of my life, I tell you. I had a great time there. What a set of people. Absolutely lovely. Anyhow, this Congress post-independence, uske baad 1977, massive jhatka, big verdict for the left, 34 years. The left wasn't doing everything right, we now know that. But for 34 years, the people of Bengal keep them in power, right? Then, what happens after 34 years? We get Mamata Banerjee in again with a major verdict. Matlab, 34 years, Bengal was okay with the left. For 15 years, I mean, in 15 years, how has Mamata Banerjee messed it up is the question I'm trying to ask. Musalman vote unka hai abhi bhi? है ना, मुसलमान वोट अभी भी है.
What you're saying, it sounds like, you know, we're questioning the intelligence of the voters in Bengal.
No,
खराब भी करो तो कोई problem नहीं है. We are averse to change, so you know you have.
But the fact is that again, I'm saying in 34 years, did the left do everything right? No.
No,
but the people of Bengal gave them chances. I'm wondering how Mamata Banerjee has messed it up to an extent where the BJP actually has a real chance of forming a government.
You're talking economically speaking, right? In terms of industry, in terms of jobs.
No,
or
not just that.
What exactly are you saying when you
I'll
say
tell
messed
you.
up?
Look, the fact is that look at her two core vote banks, and all of you weigh in here: Mahila and Musalman. Muslim votes are still going to Mamata Banerjee, right? So many people say in any case she's starting with a 28% advantage or 30% advantage. Mahila, bhai 500 rupees she was putting in your account, then after 5 years usko 1000 rupees kiya, after that 1500 rupees gaya, so that money is also going into that account. So if your two core vote banks are relatively okay, happy with you, where are you losing out is my question. That is a question I would like to get answered.
I think there are two very important aspects of this. One is that even this election, as in past elections, Mamata Banerjee's fought on very emotional issues. I know whether it's the Bengali identity, when they say that the TMC goes on and says, "Dekho fish nahi khane denge, meat nahi khane denge." Look at what has happened in other northern states, and BJP is actually floundering to give an answer because the reality of what has happened in other states is before them. That's why you see BJP leaders being projected as eating fish. Anurag Thakur and others.
Yeah, he got in some trouble for that.
So I'm just saying, so that's what's actually happening on ground. So BJP has, kind of had to struggle with those issues. And also you've seen there's a push from BJP now to actually project their Bengal leaders as the ones who are leading the campaign, as opposed to in other states when it's the central leadership that sort of takes the front stage. They've tried to sort of change that around in this entire election. Whether they've been successful or not, I don't know. But the biggest challenge for the BJP will be this. How will they counter Mamata Banerjee on those issues of identity, of language? Because if the economy is in a difficult shape, if there is so much else happening where the central government has tried to build pressure, then this is the one defense that the TMC will try to use. How much it's been successful, whether the violence that we saw in the second phase will also make an impact, I don't know. But this is certainly going to be the kind of political defense that TMC will have.
This identity politics, look, I mean, even in Tamil Nadu, they've done identity politics for a very long time. I think what is working for Mamata is that she is the tallest Bengali leader in the state. I think one of the inabilities of the BJP has also been that they've not been able to find somebody who can, stand up to her toe to toe in terms of charisma or in terms of just, popularity with the people and so on. Shubhendu Adhikari has been sort of leading the opposition in Bengal. He's the leader of the opposition. But I'm not sure his image there amongst the ordinary Bengalis is anywhere close to the kind of image that Mamata Banerjee and possibly it's a cultivated image. I mean, the white sari and the Hawaii chappals and the street fighter thing.
True.
It's stuck. I mean, everybody knows what DD stands for.
Yeah, but you can cultivate it only so much. A lot of people are comparing her work ethic to that of the Prime Minister, that she's there on the ground, and she's also a tall leader in absence of others. Who do you have from the BJP?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Shreya was a turn.
So it's the inability of not having found someone who can match up to her. Who is the chief ministerial face of the BJP? I think that's.
But Zakka, are you saying that right now Bengal is faced with a Tina question? There is no alternative, so we'll.
See,
vote
in some
Mamata.
states it doesn't.
Because Modi ji said, I am the candidate
but look, for example, in Madhya Pradesh, right, when they made Mohan Yadav the chief minister, nobody knew who he was. Frankly, outside of the state, I don't think anybody knew who he was.
Or even Rajasthan, Odisha.
Right? So there are states where you can do that. Bengal is clearly not such a state.
Rekha Gupta?
Even Rekha Gupta, right? But there are certain states where the linguistic identity, the
regional
cultural,
pride is really a
regional
thing.
Pride is there.
Yeah.
It's difficult to just randomly pick some XYZ and make them
my
chief
favorite
minister.
moment of this election was all BJP candidates, at least some of them, taking cameras with them and, latkawing fish and saying, look, we are fish eaters, don't worry.
Yeah,
no one is making you
The lack
vegetarian.
of alternative. Look what has happened to the left. Going by the projections that we have, they are, they're slated to get about 3.5% of votes without any seats. Less said the better about the Congress. If Congress was really serious about contesting alone, going solo, they should have started early. But Congress leaders, if you talk to them in private, they are saying we want BJP to win. We don't want Mamata to win, because if Mamata wins a fourth term, then there is problem for Rahul Gandhi at the center. So there's also that.
Of course, there's a lot of friction. In fact, for the national picture, whether we're talking Tamil Nadu or Bengal, it is actually a big very interesting to see how Rahul attacks the center over here on misuse of agencies and then goes and attacks Mamata Banerjee on ground on the issue of corruption, Sharda, Narda, etc. So there's a clear dichotomy over there, and there's a very clear pattern. One can understand if, for instance, Congress workers that are killed, Rahul Gandhi raising his voice. But when he goes and attacks on law and order, when he goes and attacks on issues of corruption, then you have to wonder whether everything is hunky-dory within the alliance itself. But I want to add one more national perspective, and this is important for the BJP. Why BJP needs it so badly, as Zakka was saying, is that if you've seen the entire northern region where BJP has maxed out in the last few elections, they've come close to 100%, within striking distance of it, at least amongst most of the northern states. Now they need to open up new zones. As you were saying, in the south it's going to be very challenging. That's going to be a long-term project. In the eastern part, they've already got Odisha. If they can also get Bengal, then they have another part of India where BJP has a huge presence, and at least they can hope to pick up Lok Sabha seats, presence in the assembly in the long term. So from the BJP's perspective as well, this is a very, very important election. India Alliance, of course, that's a very important point, but I think for BJP, if they manage to win this election, that will really mean the BJP cementing its position at the central level as well.
With the utterances that have been coming out of the Congress party, it's almost like they've made a choice. If they had their way, they are nowhere in the race. I think even they know that if they had their way, it's rather the BJP win than the TMC. I just had a very quick anecdote because a lot of us in Delhi, in the NCR region, have people who come to work for us who are from Bengal, right? So I have one as well. And I was asking her that, what's the problem? Everyone seems to be saying that probably Mamata Banerjee will not make it this time. And why are women upset with her, given the fact that 1,500 rupees to aapke account mein har mahine aata hai? So if she's fulfilling that promise is not being fulfilled by the BJP in Delhi, by the way. But Mamata Banerjee is doing it, and she has been doing it consistently for 15 years. Problem kya hai? So this is what the lady told me. She said 1,500 rupees is all very well, but I'm educating my daughter, right? I'm educating my daughter not because I want 1,500 rupees in my account. I don't want 1,500 rupees government dole in her account. I want 20,000 rupees ki naukri for her. If you go to Noida ka Haldiram, the front desk will be manned by young Bengali boys, disenchanted with Mamata Banerjee because they've had to travel to Delhi because they don't have jobs in Calcutta. They don't have jobs in Hooghly or Howrah. And that, I think, is a major challenge for the TMC. 6,000 industries have closed, I think, over the last 10 years.
Yes.
That's pretty phenomenal.
Yes, and that's actually one of the big points which many of the people I spoke to when I was in Calcutta told me, is that the left actually, when they came in, what was Mamata's slogan then? It was Parivartan. What is the slogan that BJP is using now? It is again Parivartan, which means that there was lack of Parivartan over the last 15 years. It was Mamata Banerjee who could have very easily, at least tried to industrialize. Of course, we all know what happened in Nandegam Shingur, but she could have put that in the past and tried to entice
that
industries.
happens. That sense of fatigue creeps in when you have a chief minister for 3 terms.
But what I'm saying is, in those 3 terms, if you could actually bring in industry, of course, they have their own homegrown IT industry, so on and so forth, but big industrial projects which actually create jobs, none of that has actually happened. And that is where there is a sense of despair, because they see other states grow. For instance, people, as she's saying, travel from Bengal to other states for jobs. They see how other states are rapidly industrializing.
Odisha, people in Bengal talk about Odisha, that if Odisha can see the sort of development it has, it has managed to create some amount of jobs.
I just picked up on the point that Zakka was talking about.
Why not us?
The cult that Mamata Banerjee has been able to create, it is based on not just, a curated image of a chappal, white sari. There's a lot of substance into it, which is why you've seen this kind of mandate. Like the last time around, the exit polls got it wrong. Even the TMC was not expecting the kind of seats that they...
In fact, she's probably one of the only chief ministers, incumbents really, who's increased her numbers every election. From 2011, the first time that she came, then in 2016 she increased, and again in 2021 she increased. See, look, electorally speaking, it is still a mountain for the BJP to climb. I don't think it's as easy as the exit polls are suggesting, because, like Shreya said, she starts off with a 27-28% advantage, and that also converts into seats. There's, I think, about 70 or 75 seats where it's virtually impossible to beat Muslim consolidation. So that's where her starting point is. Now the question is, in the remaining 220 seats or so, has the BJP
reverse consolidation?
Has it managed to have Hindu consolidation? We'll know on the 4th. So the BJP also knows. See, when you have a leader like a Mamata Banerjee who's been there for 15 years, like Jyoti Basu was there for 20 plus years, when you have a leader who is exalted and who is in a seen as revered and so on, when that person loses power, then it's very difficult for that person's party to find a replacement. So at some point, whenever this transition happens, I don't think Abhishek Banerjee will find it easy. Just like, when Mr. Karunanidhi gave way for his son, Mr. Stalin took a while to find his footing. And just like when he gives
I just
way...
want to add one point to that, though. One thing that I heard, and this is totally off record, this is just buzz, that within the next year or two, of course, we all know very famously, within the TMC,
I was about to say that, but
there are two camps. There is the Abhishek Banerjee camp, there is a Mamata Banerjee camp. And it's very clear who is the supporter of whom. I think there are supporters of Mamata Banerjee who completely don't like Abhishek Banerjee and his followers. Yeah, I think the love loss is it's all out there. But what I was told is that within the next year or two, one could possibly see the announcement of a deputy chief minister in the form of Abhishek Banerjee if the TMC wins this election. At least that's the buzz within. So that elevation, like we're seeing across the country, Udaynidhi Stalin has got the deputy CM ship. Will Nara Lokesh get it? So I think across the country, that's going to be interesting to see the next crop of the Gen Next of leaders and how their equations and how their leadership styles and how different will they be from the predecessors. Because remember that all of these are leaders who've largely grown up from scratch. They've not come from huge political dynasty, at least the challengers. In the case of course, the Karunanidhi family, yes, Udaynidhi Stalin, you can say that. And of course, Mamata Banerjee herself is a first-generation politician in that sense, who's reached this level. So how different will it be?
But while we are talking about Bengal, we are talking about Mamata and Modi. Why are we not talking about Rahul Gandhi, the leader of opposition? Why?
Pranesh,
No, it's a question, ma'am.
Where is the Congress in West Bengal? Where is the Congress in West Bengal?
Who answers that question?
Well, even they don't want to answer it.
Because Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has been saying what Rahul Gandhi has now started to say. But he was sidelined. He's always spoken up against Mamata Banerjee. So Rahul Gandhi is now echoing Adhir, but Adhir finds himself completely discredited, sidelined, cornered, what have you.
No, look, to be honest, I don't think there has been any sort of leader worth his or her salt in Bengal for the Congress other than Adhir in the last 20-30 years. Clearly, there were some problems between him and the Congress leadership in the previous Lok Sabha term. Of course, he lost the last Lok Sabha election. So which is why you're now seeing him being sort of sidelined, pushed away from the spotlight. But again, for the Congress to revive in Bengal, either you pick a next-gen leader, I don't know who that next-gen leader is, do they even have one in Bengal, or you entrust this man because, frankly, I can't see anybody else beyond him to revive the Congress in Bengal. At least in that one or two
thinking
districts.
that I have been speaking to several Congress leaders for quite some time, in fact, over the past 2 decades on this, and the thinking has been that when there were tall leaders of the stature of Pranab Mukherjee coming from West Bengal, and he would famously, make a big spectacle of him going for Durga Puja, Jangipur, etc. The sense was that the central leaders allowed for Trinamool to take up that space against the left. So, in a sense, what Rahul Gandhi is doing now is trying to make amends, but is it too little too late? I think that's a big question.
Where is the effort? In the last 10 years, we have seen the BJP make an effort in Bengal. It's very clear. They are giving it their all. Where is the effort you are seeing being made? As far as the Congress is concerned,
there's also
nothing.
a contradiction, right? I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's still the Trinamool Congress. Her politics is pretty much the same as that of the Congress by a different shade. She's not playing the politics of the right wing. Right?
By that logic, the Congress has no chance in Bengal for the next 20, 30 years.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't unless they find a leader, or unless they have somebody who's charismatic who can popularize the party and take the party to the masses.
And Mamata's equation with Sonia Gandhi, what I'm told, was far better than her equation with Rahul Gandhi as it currently exists, or even over the last few years. I think that's also a big factor in terms of that index of opposition unity working out when it comes to West Bengal, which is why you see, for instance, even when it comes to flow management in parliament, very often TMC breaks away from what the rest of the opposition strategy is. I think that's something that Congress will have to address nationally as well.
So, after the verdict in Bengal, what happens to India alliance? Where do you see that going?
Look, more than Bengal, in any case, Congress and TMC are not, they're fighting separately in Bengal. I fear the long-standing DMK-Congress alliance might actually, depending on the result, I don't know what the result is. If the result is comfortable, then I guess they will still continue. But if the result leads to some kind of a hung assembly situation, then I have a feeling that Stalin will pull the plug. Because he doesn't need the Congress, if he comes back to power, he doesn't need the Congress for the next 5 years. Right? He doesn't need them for the next assembly election either. He's got a bigger fight to take on in Vijay. They have been, with the exception of, I think, a couple of years when the 2G scam happened, this has been the longest running alliance that the Congress has had, along with the RJD. So if that breaks because of this bad blood we've seen in this campaign, I think that would be a huge...
There are two factors that I'd just like to discuss. One is, of course, we all know what happened before the election, bargaining for seats, so on and so forth, want to be part of government. All of that push. Some say it was at the behest of Rahul Gandhi, some say it's not. So I don't want to get into that debate. Whatever's there is open before us. But at least two things which were quite obvious is that A, Rahul and Stalin didn't campaign together through this election after calling each other brother on social media, so on and so forth. And the fact that Rahul didn't even wish Stalin on his birthday. That is something that has apparently really, upset DMK, upset Stalin, etc. is what I'm told. Now, if that does that mean that they will break the alliance because of that? I don't know. But certainly, as Zakka is saying,
never forget your brother's birthday.
important takeaway.
Well, let's quickly
Are we
talk
not
about...
sticking? Are we not sticking our neck out and making predictions on who's winning?
Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah?
Please.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Tamil Nadu. You know, we have a few minutes left. Vijay is the big name.
X factor.
Yeah.
Look, I've been saying this right from day one. I think everyone is underestimating him. Even the exit polls, I think, at least a majority of them are underestimating him. There's, of course, one poll which we're all talking about. We've all talked about Mr. Gupta's poll, which may be overestimating him. But I think, look, he is going to have the best electoral debut of any political party in Tamil Nadu since 1977, since MGR became Chief Minister. Whether or not he has enough to get 117 on his own, which is the halfway mark, that is...
But it'll still be pretty incredible, huh? Because after
It
the
is.
Aam Aadmi Party,
It's unbelievable.
which is the party you can think of that
it would be
risen so
absolutely
Yeah,
quickly.
people were banking on Prashant Kishore, but never really
it
took
will
off.
Yeah, but Prashant Kishore doesn't have the star power of Vijay. Remember, the difference between Vijay and Kamal Hassan is this. Kamal Hassan is at the end of his career. Vijay is at the peak of his career. He's about 51, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, 51.
And he's been, he's probably the most, and Zakka can correct me if I'm wrong, probably the most popular Tamil star at the moment.
Yeah.
So I was actually at one particular rally in Saidapet in Chennai, where Vijay didn't even stop to address. It was just a sort of a road show. And the people were crazy. The sun was blazing and people were standing on both sides of the road. As soon as Vijay came in, they just broke all the barriers. The police was, found it very difficult to handle them. But I've seen something there, which I've not seen in the last 25 years in any political party's rally, which is what? Normally the publicity material, whether it's the flags, the shawls, etc., would be provided by the candidate, by the party, or, some political agency, consultancy agency like
People
IPAC,
came
etc.
dressed like...
There were people, vendors selling those red and yellow shawls, and people were buying them for 50 rupees and wearing them.
Like
that was the
merchandise.
craze. The lanyards, which showed the TVK
And go to
iCard,
Tamil
etc.
Nadu.
People
In
were
Delhi-
doing this.
In Delhi, Sridhar Vembu, he's put out a post today,
Yeah.
right? Where he's saying that there is a security guy. He's from Odisha. He's not even from Tamil Nadu. He's from Odisha. And he's probably realized with the outfit that he's wearing. कि अच्छा,
Okay,
ये तो
so who do you think
Tamilian.
is winning Tamil Nadu?
ये देखो, इसमें मुझे बात ही नहीं flip करनी।
बता दीजिए. We don't have much time. We'll have to...
Clearly, I think DMK, Vijay's party, number 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I would go with that. I would be very surprised if Vijay actually gets 117 on his own. But I think he will be number 2. AIDMK will be pushed to number 3.
What is the minimum that you think...
So I asked Pradeep Gupta. He said 70 is the minimum. I'll go with that number. 70.
Pradeep Gupta has made some outlier predictions and he's got them right. Before we you remember 2019? 2019, everyone was saying close fight between BJP and the India Alliance. Close fight.
But from 2019 to 2026, many polls have been won and lost, and
No, but he has made predictions in
Many polls
about
have gone.
Maharashtra. He's made predictions. That was absolutely
Not just
correct.
about him, other
Delhi was correct. I'm saying
agencies
Pradeep's track record is not as bad
So yeah,
as
I
it is.
would say 70 at the
70.
very least.
Yeah, so there's a multiple choices. Some have predicted 90, some have predicted 60 to 70, some have predicted 40, others have predicted 15 to 20. I think a safe bet would be between 40 to 60 because of two things. And two primary reasons is that he doesn't have a party structure. It's just the fans who are out there. Will that fandom actually translate at the ballot? Because remember, even MGR and Jayalalitha, they worked in parties for about 10-15 years before they became CM. So I don't think Vijay becoming CM is a realistic possibility, but yes, he will take a huge chunk of the vote in both urban and rural areas, the youth and women. Women, remember that there's no Jayalalitha like overarching woman leader figure like Mamata exists, for instance, in West Bengal. All of that is likely to be pulled away from the ADMK, and that is going to really help Vijay is what I feel.
One defining feature, we've discussed this threadbare of Vijay's campaign.
You've not
has
made a
been-
prediction.
I think DMK has an edge.
Correct.
Okay, we've run out of time completely.
No Bengal
Do we want
prediction.
to hazard a guess about Bengal?
I want to hedge my bets like most exit polls and say neck to neck. But I think she'll take it. she's in a
reduced
position to
majority, but
form
I
the
think she'll
government.
scrape.
Yeah.
Yeah. I tend to agree. That's most likely the
Okay, I am the outlier then. I think this is BJP's first term. Okay. Thank you, viewers, for watching this. Your feedback is welcome. We'll keep adding, improving. This is the first episode. Hope to build on this. Thanks for watching.